Hi, I'm Gary Worthington, and today I'm going to show you how to get started airbrushing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find us a nice well-ventilated area to work in, and then we're going to start mixing our paint. The first thing we're going to do is pour a couple of drops of paint into this mixing cup. And then we're going to add a couple of drops of reducer. The reduction amount will depend heavily on what you're doing and your working conditions, and you can look at that more in another video that we've made. So now I want to hook my airbrush up to the hose using this quick disconnect system here, and I'm going to add that to it. Makes it real easy. And now I have air. I'm going to adjust my air to about 40 pounds of pressure, and then I'm going to pour just a little bit of paint into the airbrush. Get that mixed up really good. And then I'm going to test it out. I highly recommend, if you're using a top feed airbrush like this, that you do use the lid to prevent any messes and spills. So we'll put that back on, and it looks like we're working perfect. Okay, now we're going to test out the airbrush to make sure it's working properly. What I'm going to do is just use a scrap piece of paper, and I'm pulling back the trigger and pushing down the trigger for air and making a few lines to make sure it's working, which right now it looks like it's working absolutely perfectly. Okay? And then we're going to begin doing our project, whatever that may be. Now, what I recommend is that you spray in light, even coats and let the paint build up. That way it dries more evenly and you have a nice color saturation. Just like that. All right, once we're done doing whatever it is we're doing with the airbrush, it's going to be time to clean it. This is actually the most important part of the process, because the more you take care of this airbrush, the more it's going to take care of you. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to spray out any residual paint left in the cup. And how I'm going to do that is I've made a little spray bucket out of a 5-gallon bucket and some paper towels, and I'm going to spray all of that material out till it's dry. Okay? Once I've done that, then I'm going to add a little bit of airbrush cleaner or reducer to the cup. Either one works fine. Water works great as well. If you need to save a little money, feel free to use water, and then add a little airbrush cleaner at the end to save the material. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull the cap off the cup, which you do that from the front, just like this. That makes it a lot easier. People have a lot of trouble with that. So we're going to add a little bit of the cleaner to it. We're going to swirl that around, and then we're going to spray into our bucket again to keep down any overspray in the room. And once that runs clear, you may have to do this 2 or 3 times, but once that runs clear, then you're done. Now, if you have a little bit more cleaning that needs to be done, if there's some internal paint backup or something like that, there's a lot of things you can use to clean it out. Pipe cleaners, small brush sets, toothpick type brushes, and also an old needle can scrape off some stuff. Now, you're going to want to take the airbrush apart. The more you familiarize yourself with the parts of the airbrush and how to take it apart and put it back together, the easier this is going to be. If it's too hard for you, you're not going to want to use it. So really familiarize yourself with that. So what you're going to want to do is take that apart, use any of these materials to clean it, and once you have it all clean, if you have any kind of super dried on paint, I recommend using the Airbrush Restorer to soak it in for a little while, and that will remove anything that's stuck in there, and it will bring it back to brand new again. I hope this has helped you learn how to get started airbrushing. I'm Gary Worthington, and if you have any questions or concerns, please post them below and we'll get right back to you.